Hi, welcome back to our channel. This is Taylor and I'm Sarah, Taylor's wife, and today we are going to be doing part 2 of the FFS surgeries, where we answer some questions that we've gotten since Taylor's surgeries in February. So let's dive in.
Yeah, so while we start answering these first few questions, I'm going to post some of my before and after, some images, so you can just see them right here if that's really all you're here for, is just to see results. The before pictures were taken about 7 months before my surgery in July, and the after pictures were taken 2 months to the day after my surgery. And then after those pictures, I just have some before and afters of everyday life now versus back then. So let's get into it.
Why did you want FFS and why did you choose the procedures that you did?
I wanted FFS from the very beginning. I never thought it'd be passable without it. Like my two main procedures I wanted were my brow and my Adam's apple, because I always thought they were so big, and because I never thought I could afford, or we could afford, surgeries, I thought I would never be able to transition, or just never transition in general, because I just didn't think I'd be, in my eyes, passable enough. You don't have to be passable to be a valid trans person, but for me, it was something really big. It was the number one thing I wanted to do out of my transition. Like, as soon as we were ready to start transitioning, I was like, I need to start saving for surgeries, because that was my number one thing. And I know some trans people have their things, could be bottom surgery, top surgery, whatever, but for me it was the face stuff. So yeah. And I chose, sorry, the second part of the question is the procedures I got done are my brow, like I was saying, Adam's apple, I had a lip lift, and breast augmentation at the same time, but we can talk about the breast augmentation at the end of this video, probably. Yeah. So.
And where did you get surgery? Or who did your surgeries, and why?
I went to Dr. Eric Ben-Simon in Montreal, Canada. He's part of the, I think it's the GrS Montreal. Why? I think the why is really particular to everyone. And it comes down to, let's see,
what you can afford, what you want.
So afford should be lower on the list, but it's a big part of it. So that's what I'm gonna say is, I mean, obviously you want someone who does the procedures you want and how you want them done, or how you think would best benefit you. They should be qualified, and you should check their before and afters for your own, you can judge them on your own, like viewing their work and seeing if that's like someone that looks like you, and then this is like the results that they got. You'd be like, okay, that makes me feel more comfortable to go with this person. And then reputation too, I would check reviews. But for me, it came down to if I liked him, just talking to him. I did. There were a couple people I liked in California. I liked, of course, the FacialTeam in Spain, but this brings me to the price and location part of why you should choose a surgeon. The price, it was big for me. I would have liked the California doctors, and they do great work, but I just can't imagine paying for lodging for 10 days to recover, to get your post-op appointment. And just the surgeons in general costed more, because the American dollar goes further in Canada. So it sounds bad, but I was tied between a couple surgeons. Why I go with the cheaper one? I was able to get the lip lift, which I wasn't really planning on in the beginning, because I was mainly focused on my brow and Adam's apple, but I could throw the lip lift in there and boobs for the same price as just a brow and an Adam's apple in California, and especially in Spain. They're expensive, great work, and it's your face. Money shouldn't be the biggest thing, but Well, what did you think of, I guess?
I just think as far as like you, like the person obviously getting the surgeries needs to feel confident in what they're doing, but then the partner, if you have a partner or somebody that's helping you, also needs to sort of challenge it and say what's might actually be realistic. Like if you are head over heels for this another doctor that is more expensive, fine, you'll do that. But because we have a home and a daughter and, you know,
you have to take time off work to recover.
Because there are other things. If that's the surgeon that you want to go to and they're more expensive, that's fine. But then you also have to then be patient while you save up more. Because I'm not willing to bankrupt myself or our family for the most important surgery, of course, but you can't sometimes get it right when you want it. As most, I feel like most trans people feel. Obviously, you wait for this your whole life and you hope for it. So you know that you might have to be patient. It's just, I think it was just hard.
We all know being patient's hard, especially with our hormones taking forever to see changes, it seems like, but
I'm impatient in everything, let alone something as huge as this. So money was my main factor. Money and talent was my main factor. I would have gone to Thailand. I would have gone anywhere.
I talked to Thailand.
We can...
Then you get a 12-hour flight, though. So you just got to factor things in and whatever works for you. Just be comfortable with the person. I liked this guy. I liked him when I talked to him right after the consultation. I said, Sarah, I was happy about that guy. There were some consultations I had where I was just like, I don't think I'm going to go with him. Nothing against Dr. Harrison Lee, for example, like who did Caitlyn Jenner and Janae Kroc, like great work. But when I talked to him, I was like, So it's all about you. Find someone definitely qualified, look at some before and afters, and just talk to a lot of people. So
pay for those interviews. You had to pay for like the consultations and stuff, right?
Yep, there are a few consultations you have to pay for.
And like it's worth it because you ultimately decide where $20,000 is going, $30,000, $40,000, whatever.
There you go, another question answered. Price. So fun stuff.
So fun.
Anyway, next question.
How was recovery, and what was the hardest procedure to recover from?
I mean, you were there. I didn't think recovery was that bad.
The first day there was throw up.
Okay, so after the procedure, if you're on general anesthesia like I was for 6.5 hours, it's supposed to be just 4.5 hours. It took longer. My brow was a big deal.
Impressive.
My brow was impressive. So it took longer than expected, and I've never been under for that long. The only time I was under is for my wisdom teeth, and when I woke up this time, I was very nauseous. As soon as I stood up too to go to the bathroom for the first time, I felt fine, and then it all hit me. Full disclosure, I didn't make it to the toilet with my vomit, so that was fun for the nurses. And the first few hours of waking up were, I guess, bad. Nauseous wise, I was never in pain. I was pretty kind of swollen. I didn't have like my nose done or my jaw done, like the big face recovery procedures, but the face stuff wasn't bad. The hardest stuff was the boobs, and that's just because I couldn't lift. Like if I had a job that was like typing or at a desk or whatever, it's fine, but I have to do a lot of lifting in my work, so I had to take even more time off for my recovery because they went under the pec muscles and you just need it to recover, so you don't need to go in for like what's the word I'm looking for? Fixing? They don't you don't need to go in for
like if it's botched?
Revisions.
You
don't need to go in for revisions. So do whatever the surgeon says. My surgeon said no lifting for 2 months. So that was rough, and it was mainly because of the boobs, but the brow too, because the pressure from lifting in your head. He was concerned about that, but again, mostly the breast. So recovery wasn't bad. no pain, just take your medicine like they say. It's kind of annoying. I think one of the hardest parts, what, am I talking too much?
No.
I think one of the hardest parts in the beginning of the first week is not washing your hair right, because they had the incision along my hairline. There were staples. So like, I just felt weird washing my head or touching it. What are we at, 3 months now? And I'm finally getting feeling back in the top of my head. And that makes my head really itchy all the time. So that's another thing. Yes.
I would say, in case anyone wants the partner's perspective on the hardest part of recovery, was, where to start? I would say I had my mom with us in Canada. The hard part was here, home, in Michigan. So when I got home, my mom and I left Canada early. I had met my threshold from being away from our daughter, so it was time for us to go home. And single parents, even with all of the help from my parents, Taylor's parents, our friends, our family, like extended family, we have such a support system here. Being the one person that has to think of all sides of everything and talk it out with somebody else, but then still the decision is ultimately yours. The end of that week that I was like by myself, which not by myself, but by myself in that respect, I had cracked.
It's tough.
Just cracked. It was really hard, even with the support. So I think just surround yourself with people. And maybe I just am too much of a control freak and I needed to trust other people more, and that is certainly a possibility. Most parents have a huge sense of control with their child, being that she's 1.5. So that was really tough. And then the lifting.
Yeah, so I couldn't help when I came back. I felt so like
helpless.
helpless.
The emotional toll definitely happened.
And I don't know, still kind of happens if we're talking about an emotional toll now, like with the finances. Like I keep saying it like to Sarah, I was like, I always feel bad. Like we could have bought XYZ. So dealing with that is kind of a hard part after surgery too. But I would say when you were there too.
I don't do blood. I actually, after I saw Taylor after surgery, I had to lay on the ground of the hospital to not pass out. I can't take blood. The staples were graphic. It's not really that graphic. If you watch like scary movies, it's really not that graphic, but to see staples in somebody's head,
yeah,
it was unsettling.
I think the other part that could have added to that tension for her and for me is this was our first time away from our daughter. So that was another part that was hard too, is not just when she was back by herself, but like worrying about her every day when we were gone, and how whoever was watching her that day or that night, how they were taking care of her, and if it was up to our standards. Or,
even though they're all trusted, obviously.
It was just the first time we were away. So that's just our experience. A lot of people might not have to worry about the kid aspect at all. So, yeah.
That was tough.
Besides that, 3 months later.
all of that, it was fine.
It's like, wow, it's all good.
I mean, I would do it again.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I would say that's with the results. I'd definitely say, our next question is what life is like after surgery, and definitely happy with the results. Sometimes I do have those creeping dark thoughts come into my head, like, what if I went with this procedure? What if I picked a different surgeon who had an on day and just like made me look like a supermodel? I look great, but like I just have these what ifs that come into my head sometimes of the surgeon, the date, like why did I do it in the middle of winter? We went in the winter. It's one thing. So I was asked, it was a question that we just answered, but I was asked recently, about life after surgery, what's been like at work. And it is tough. I mean, I didn't start presenting. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I was so nervous about what I look like and being passable that I wasn't presenting female before surgery. So
It was a golf cart. Sorry.
just 3 months after surgery, I started presenting, I guess, full time. We've been indoors a lot these days, so I don't have to do anything. But if I'm going out and I am presenting, I'm going to the women's restroom, and that's hard, especially with my job. I see a lot of customers where I go to visit customers, and if they knew, so most people I see knew me before as Taylor the male, so it's hard for them. It's kind of been hard to be Taylor the female. It's kind of been hard to use pronouns. Most are trying and most are doing awesome with it, but it is tough because I didn't change my name. I think we'll be talking about that in another video. I would like to do that, but life after surgery's been good.
I'd say we're chugging along.
Yeah, it's definitely different challenges came up, but the challenge I faced before, not being able to go out presented as a woman, is not there. So now I do. Now I play golf as a woman. I go to the women's restroom. So like, life is definitely different afterwards, in a good way, mostly. And I guess anything for you? Any tips for people or any other recommendations? We've kind of talked about it, like childcare, don't go in the middle of winter.
Or unless you're going somewhere warm.
So I went to Canada in February.
Which it was fine. And then I think it was the night
of my
your
surgery.
Then after your surgery.
Yeah.
So like when you had to sleep at the hospital that one night, they literally got 10 inches overnight.
Like it shut down all of Montreal. Like all schools, like it was crazy.
It was bananas. And
I thought I was going to be stuck in the hospital for another night at least.
God, it was bananas.
That was another thing. We Ubered everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So it's like we had to worry about getting an Uber to come pick me up in this like crazy snowstorm. And
it was supposed to be cheaper to Uber. But then obviously because of the snowstorm, Uber prices stacked up.
And a thing for me with Uber, I didn't think about so much is getting food, like being in a foreign country.
Okay, they only speak French, basically.
In Montreal, it's very French.
It was difficult. French. I'm glad we were not in Thailand or Spain.
Yeah, that's another thing.
It's hard.
Check languages and get a translator, use your phone, whatever.
Language barrier is real.
Language barrier is hard. Not having a car to go get food if you're hungry. Just go to the grocery store. Like, you can't just get a week's worth of groceries, and I guess you can, and then throw it in an Uber guy's trunk. I don't know. I've never done that before. It just seemed so odd to do that when I can't like communicate with people. A lot of them spoke English, but it was still hard.
So my biggest tip is it's hard because you don't know. I think that's part of the reason why we're making it is when I booked our Airbnb, it did not occur to me that Taylor was going to come home and have to go up a very steep flight of stairs. That was silly. Like, I think I'm just thinking more about how after surgery is going to be. Like, before surgery, you can walk in the snow and like that's all fine, but like afterwards, like. And
then like I was worried about the amount of pillows we had, even because we couldn't pack pillows because we just brought carry-ons to save money. And
I feel like that's the running theme of this.
So I was nervous about, I had to sleep upright for the first month, or I don't remember what it was now, but that was part of recovery, and it's something you kind of don't think about, like, oh crap, are they gonna have enough pillows? Is this a second floor apartment? It was. I don't know why we didn't think about.
Didn't even occur to me.
Oh, I'm gonna have to walk upstairs after my surgery. It wasn't really a big deal, but it's little things, and
it definitely made me nervous. And again, thankfully I had my mom there to walk in front of Taylor up the stairs so I could walk behind Taylor up the stairs, because again, it was snowing. These weren't carpeted stairs, so you never know if they're gonna slip and be disoriented. And then like my mom's the one that helped with the throw up and the blood and whatever. So like, just thank God I had my mommy there.
So yeah, definitely a support system.
Yeah.
And if there's any other little things that you're kind of wondering about, you can always put them in the comments. I'm pretty good at responding. We could always make another video about it to go more in depth about certain things, but this is kind of like an overview kind of video. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. I know you've been probably waiting, but here's about 3 months after surgery, how I look recovery wise, and yeah.
Yay! We'll see you guys next time. Bye.